Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. Happy Monday, or not so happy Monday. Nothing worse than a Monday after a holiday weekend, am I right? Or for some people who went to work directly after Christmas, like the next day they were back at work. We're here to tell you all the news you might have missed over the weekend since Friday. This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee, a father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories right before we've started. We just got caffeine in our bodies and we're learning to speak and read live off stream. Let's roll that segue wheel, but first, get into today's headlines. Today on Mucking Fun Day. Cold War bomb shelter in Nova Scotia being converted into high-end doomsday condos. And speaking of Cold War, Russia says Ukraine tried to attack Putin's residence, so Moscow's negotiating stance is under review. Ooh, I'm scared. Oh, I pressed the wrong button.
Greetings. Pressed the wrong button, but it's still Mucking Fun Day, and we're going to update the Epstein file. If you haven't heard this story, Trump was involved in a sleazy operation with a 13-year-old girl in Michigan once upon a time, according to the Epstein files. And speaking of Michigan, they're about to get slammed with a storm that's going across Minnesota and also Wisconsin, of course, which is between them. I'm not giving away any secrets there.
In more Mucking Fun Day news, South Korea is looking to reduce coal emissions and switch to LNG. But that's just like a lesser of the greater problem, which is casting doubt over its climate pledge. And a magnitude 6 earthquake shakes Peru and triggers a national emergency.
And China, rattling its sabers again, completely surrounds Taiwan in a military exercise, showing, hey, we can do this, which everybody else already knows they can do that. And we're gonna remember Bridget Bardot, who passed away at 91.
In my culture news, too scary to show, Kazakh's horror series becomes festival favorite for gore fans over the weekend.
And if you got some deadlines that are due in about 2 days, it's National TikTok Day. That clock is a ticking. Get that stuff done. You got about 48 hours here, December 29th, 2025 on Before Coffee.
Is there a new story about Tommy being the king of mayhem? I don't think so. Not to, actually to insult Tommy, I don't think he's newsworthy. I don't think anyone's reporting on what Tommy's doing. Streamer causes mayhem on stream is not exactly breaking news.
Right. Things
I
happen
mean,
today.
he's definitely somebody who has had to go back to work, right after the holiday weekend, so... If I had a real job, I'd definitely be one of those people who would be like, I will not be working from whatever the week that Christmas is to whatever the end of the week that New Year's is, and that's it. Don't expect me to be here, fire me, whatever, I'm not coming. And that's why I don't have a real job. I think it's evil to ask people to come back to work for 3 days just to come back.
I will say, when you did have a job, you like working the cleanup shift for some reason.
I wouldn't even be angry if all the bus routes were closed or everything that is public. I wouldn't care. Oh darn! There's no shops open because they don't have any cashiers. Well, that's not my. It's New Year's. Whatever. Stay inside. But yeah. TikTok, I guess. Get all that money. I'm sure that's why people are working. It's not because they're being forced to, but because they want to get paid. So.
The actual New Year should be like the 22nd of December. They should move it back to where solstice is and make so much more sense.
Yeah. Add
Right?
that 13th month
Why did
as
you
well.
pick 7 to...
Yeah.
Right, yeah, add the 13th month, and let's just make the year end on the solstice.
The first
and
new
just call
moon
that.
of the year. There you go. Easy. It's
And the
crazy that we
13th
have
month,
the
you-
nature there to show us what to do, and we still make up our made-up calendar, right? The human hubris right there.
Did I come up with a name for the 13th month yet? Did we come up with
No,
one yet?
you should think about that during my story, in which, let's roll that segue, Will. You can come
Gotta
up
be
with
a
that.
non sequitur then.
Yeah, if you get non sequitur, you can do that.
Yeah, 13th month should be called. Name it after me. There you go. That'll go right.
Here we go. Well, unfortunately, you got
I was born
limerick,
then.
so start writing. Get a pen and pencil out.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I guess
This
I'm
is my
ready.
first news story, which is quite long. Well, maybe I should do the short one first, and then you can write a limerick for both, because the short one is really short. So we'll do the short one first.
Really
which
short?
You can, yeah, it's super short.
better have a
It's
lot of
more,
rhyming
it's more
words
like
in it.
a notification. So this is coming out of Moscow on Reuters by, let me scroll all the way to the bottom, Maxim Rodionov, edited by Guy Falconbridge. My favorite reporter on Reuters, Guy Falconbridge. Russian president, or as I like to call him, Russian dictator, Vladimir Putin, chairs a meeting on the special military operation amid the ongoing Russian-Ukraine conflict in Moscow. It was supposedly attacked in Novgorod. His residence in Novgorod was attacked by Ukraine, according to Lavrov. There were 91 drones that were destroyed. Ukraine Zelensky says the accusation is a lie. And Russia is now going to retaliate like they haven't been doing the last, what are we at now? 5 years. Moscow, on December 29th, which is today, Monday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that Ukraine has tried to attack President Vladimir Putin's residence in the Novgorod region, and so Moscow's negotiating position would be reviewed. Lavrov said that from the 28th to 29th, Ukraine had attacked the Russian president's state residence in Novgorod region with 91 long-range drones, which were all destroyed by Russian air defense. Such reckless action will not go unanswered, Lavrov said, adding that the attack amounted to state terrorism. It's not state terrorism. Oh, right. Because they believe Ukraine is part of their country. It's not state terrorism. It's just normal attack by a other country that you invaded. But for them, right, Ukrainians are Russians and they're doing terrorism. He said that the targets had already been selected for retaliatory strikes by Russia's armed forces. Lavrov noted that the attack took place during negotiations about a possible Ukrainian peace deal, and that while Russia would not leave the negotiations, Moscow's position will be reviewed. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said the accusation was a lie, adding that Moscow was prepared to ground the strike, preparing the ground to strike government buildings in Kyiv. It was not immediately clear if Putin was at the residence at the time, so, and also give us some pictures of 91 drones. Probably don't exist because it never happened. They attacked us while we were negotiating peace. See, Russia doesn't want peace. We can keep bombing them now. It's totally a setup by Putin because he's just, the secret war. The secret war that he's been conducting where, the Russian bots take over and tell everybody, hey, the far right's really cool and they're totally not going to sell the country out to Russia. Yeah, let's go. In other news that is kind of related to Russia because it's a Cold War bomb shelter in Nova Scotia. This is my second story. I'm still giving you time to write your limericks. This is a longer story. From the Canadian Press. A former Cold War fallout shelter in rural Nova Scotia is being transformed into luxury condominiums for elite clients seeking refuge from global crises. Yay! Rich people get to survive while we're all fighting over the scraps. Project co-owner Paul Mansfield says renovation of the 2-story underground bunker started less than a year ago, but the project has already attracted attention from several well-heeled buyers. The price range is for the 50 condos is a secret unless the vetting process determines you can afford one. To be honest, The bunker business is booming globally, the Halifax-based entrepreneur said during a recent interview inside the slightly creepy 64,000 square foot concrete structure built in 1964. The climate is a big concern, and there's been more conflicts in the last few years than there has been in the last 25 years, Mansfield says in a windowless room at the bunker's ventilation system hums in the background. Some people are trying to find some sort of apocalyptic insurance. Mansfield says about $8 million has been invested in the project so far. I wonder what Mansfield is going to do with all this money when everyone's living in bunkers and society breaks down. Nothing. It'll be worth nothing. These poor rich people will probably get eaten by the guards, right? That's always the big joke. You live in a bunker. One rich guy lives in a bunker that's staffed by 20 guards, and those 20 guards are going to be like, let's eat the rich guy. He's really annoying and he keeps telling us what to do. We don't need him. His money is worth nothing now. About 15 suites are due for completion next year, and the remainder by the end of 2027. You could probably fit 20 poor people in one suite, and instead it's going to be one person in one suite, and they're going to be useless to society because they won't even know how to do anything, right? They won't be able to... All they know how to do is play the stock market, which won't exist, and, I don't know, tell other people to do things. And when it isn't being used as a cushy bomb shelter, the bunker suites will be part of a boutique hotel. The existing turf-covered fortification is known as a Dyfin bunker, named after John Diefenbacher, the prime minister who in 1959 ordered its construction at the Camp Durbert military base an hour's drive north of Halifax. The bunker was one of the 6 identical shelters built across Canada. Each had a meter-thick wall designed to withstand a 5-megaton nuclear blast from 2 kilometers away. So if you drop one directly on it, it's not going to survive. Good to know. Advanced life support systems could filter chemical, biological, and radioactive contamination. And each building stored enough food and water to sustain 350 government and military leaders for 90 days. Instead, he's only selling, 40 rooms to rich people or something? So that's 350 government and military leaders is way more useful than some rich people. Just saying. In the event of a nuclear war, no family members were allowed to enter. It was only for the people in the government. Decommissioned in the 1990s, most of the bunkers were sealed off or destroyed, federal officers said. One of them, however, is still being used for offices, classrooms, and accommodations at the Canadian Forces Base Valcartier, north of Quebec, as well as a much larger Dyfin bunker built west of Ottawa in Carp, Ontario in 1961, now serves as Canada's Cold War Museum. As for the Nova Scotia bunker, it was opened for public tours in the late 1990s, followed by a transformation into a secure data storage center. Its current owner, blockchain expert Jonathan Bahai, which means he made money off of cryptocurrency, bought the building in 2012. Aside from data storage, Bahai started staging public events the following year, which included laser tag, esports, and in 2019 an elaborate escape room with a Cold War theme. But the gaming ventures were sunk by the COVID pandemic. Since 2022, much of the bunker remained idle until Bahai and Mansfield hatched their condo plan, and renovations started this year. The launch of the ambitious project prompted a high-end rebranding. The bunker's latest incarnation is known as the Dyfin Baker. The tagline on its slick brochure, Luxury Safe Haven. We're going back to the original purpose, but for different clientele, Mansfield says. The marketing is aimed at those seeking an exclusive leadership community, committed to protecting the promise of tomorrow, with people who don't know how to do anything for themselves. As well as that was my added tagline, that they didn't say that. Show me a rich person who knows how to do stuff with their hands. There's probably 10 in the world, total, right? People who actually came from the bottom and rose up. Who worked in an industry somewhere, a farmer, a freaking factory, something, right? Every other rich person got a small loan from their already rich parents and then told people what to do and invested it in the stock market, and then they got money that way, and they don't know how to do anything other than think, which everyone can think, so they're not special, okay? As was the case with the original bunker, the Diefenbacher will be equipped with self-sustaining systems providing enough energy, water, and gourmet food to last 6 to 9 months once the blast doors are sealed shut. This sounds a lot like the plot of a Fallout game, in which they're actually sold, they think they're going to be sold gourmet food, and then they're just fed, you know, grubs or whatever, because they can't complain now they're sealed in the bunker for 20 years. Which, if that happens, some sort of justice in the world exists. Residents can maintain an elevated lifestyle no matter what happens outside, the brochure says. Supported by a staff of about 40, those 40 people will be eating all the rich people later. The Effenbacher will have a spa, fitness center, coffee shop, and cigar lounge, all guarded by on-site security who will also be eating the rich people, using thermal radar to guard the perimeter, Mansfield says. Wow. I love how completely unattached to reality you have to be to sign up to be in this bunker. Yeah! These rich people are going to be so safe. To be sure, pricey doomsday condos are nothing new. 2010 developer Larry Hall brought a decommissioned 15-story Atlas missile silo in Kansas, which he repurposed into a survival condo made from hardened concrete up to 3 meters thick. The underground silo now contains a collection of upscale condos with backup power systems, military-grade air filters, and a 5-year supply of food and water. You just have to make sure you get to the condo before the world ends. When it comes to safeguarding your future, nothing even comes close, says the Survival Condos website. In his 2022 book, Survival of the Richest, Escape Fantasy of the Tech Billionaires, American author Douglas Rushkoff suggests that those with extreme wealth and privilege are obsessed with insulating themselves from climate change, rising sea levels, and mass migration, pandemics, and resource depletion. For them, the future of technology is about only one thing: escape from the rest of us, he wrote. Yet they're still going to have the rest of us in there. 40 staff. Supported by 40 staff. I don't think they're going to be rich people, just saying. Maybe they'll be middle, they're not rich, but they have middle wage or whatever. That's where the disappearing middle-income families went. They went to the bunkers to work for the billionaires.
Reminds me of a song, though.
Let me finish the story. One more paragraph. Lawrence Orsbrook, an economics professor at Dalhousie University in Halifax, says the super rich are known to feel somewhat paranoid and anxious about losing their wealth because they all know it's made up. So you get this sort of social isolation that goes along with the great wealth, says Osberg, author of the 2018 book, The Age of Increasing Inequality, The Astonishing Rise of Canada's 1%. You also want to have some people around who validate you and make you feel good about yourself, so you end up talking to other rich people as much as possible. Talk about a bubble. At the Durbert bunker, Mansfield said it's only natural that captains of industry would want to hang out with each other. Yeah, captains of industry.
Yeah. Get them all
At least a captain knows how a ship works. I don't think these people know how their industries work. They couldn't take out a loom and start creating suits. They wouldn't even know what to do if they put a loom in front of them. I love that.
The government could take out the richest guy and richest people in organized crime.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Like, because they're criminals. Like, these guys are criminals. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Still, we have people of all sorts of backgrounds that are interested in the project, but they're all driven. They have found a lot of success in their life by working hard. I'm rolling my eyes for anyone who's not looking at the screen, and trying to make good decisions. Anyway. Rolling my eyes again. And by being ahead of their time, he said. Yeah, ahead of their time, but their parents give them a bunch of money. And they tend to socialize a lot with I expect groups will be forming within the bunker to talk about what we're going to do when we get out of here and how we're going to exist and move forward. All these rich people will be eaten by the working class inside the bunker. Don't do it, rich people. Just die with the rest of us instead of being eaten by your staff later. Trust me, I think you'd rather want the quick death than the slow, agonizing harvesting of your organs. There's my stories. Where'd you go? Oh, there you are.
I'm here because
I hope that was enough time for you to write 2 limericks.
No, you don't do that again, because I had my first limerick done, but I ended your first story, and I had other ideas in my head, and then you did a separate story that was way longer, and it chased all those ideas in the first story out of my head. But I remembered one of them from the first story about Russia and I actually sent you a video that made this point. Russia's only got probably less than 20% of Ukraine after what's going to be 4 years now. And the comparison, this guy who used to be a congressman and Kinzinger, was like, What if we invaded Iraq, which we did, and after 4 years we had only progressed 20%, and we'd killed over 1 million of our own troops. Not killed, but at least a million casualties. Casualties means you're not fighting anymore. Casualties means you're dead, wounded, or captured. 1 million young Russians can't fight. A lot of them dead. Probably half of that number, maybe more dead. Would the United States put up with that after 4 years? Hell no. Hell no. We'd be marching in the streets. And Vietnam had nothing like that when we were marching in the streets. Anyway, my limerick. After Vladimir Putin's invasion event, Moscow has only conquered 20%. Kiev still stands in Ukrainian hands. I'm having trouble reading my own writing. Kiev still stands in Ukrainian hands, and the Kremlin can go get beds. There's my...
So sad.
You didn't like it, huh? You didn't like it? I
Great
thought it was
one.
funny. It's not sad. I mean, Kremlin, they could have easily collapsed. Russia, by the way, was in Afghanistan for 9 years, a little over 9 years, and didn't win anything. Basically got their ass kicked, which is, you know, even if they settled, do you think those settled lands that Russia's trying to occupy, you think there's not going to be terrorism constantly?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't really. I don't know
Ireland.
if we even have the numbers about how many Ukrainian citizens they forcibly sent back to Russia, right? Like the people in Crimea, for example, they said, "Hey, you're Russian now. We burned your Ukrainian passport. Here's your Russian passport, and also, can you move to Moscow so you're no longer living here anymore?" And they did that with children in the occupied regions of Ukraine. They did that with children, right? They said, "You're now Russian. You're going to Moscow school."
Yeah, none of that's getting. They ain't getting none of that back. They settle now. What I'm saying is that all those people are going to be part of Russia. Does it really matter? Because people will be in that place actively performing terrorism, get the Russians out of there. And that's going to go on and on forever and ever. You can look at Northern Ireland. You can look at Ireland until they made the British leave completely, except for Northern Ireland. And Northern Ireland was a flashpoint for the next, 80 years? Still, I think, right? Most of that generation was gone. All right, so my next limerick. Is everybody still there? Anyway, a hotel was built in the ground for when troops and bombs surround. A place to step in when nuclear weapons cause alpha, beta, and gamma rays to abound. Because that's what happens with nuclear radiation. It sends out... It's called the radioactivity because that's what it is. It's harmful radio waves that burn through your skin.
I would feel bad. Well, I feel bad for the workers in there. I don't feel bad for the 40 rich people that are gonna hopefully get eaten by the guards. I don't even know if I'm dead. I'll be a ghost. I'm gonna go to one of those bunkers and I'm gonna watch and wait, and then I'm gonna laugh maniacally when the rich people are all they get turned against the people who are trained bodyguards who know how to handle a gun versus a rich person who can't feed themselves, probably can't wipe their own ass without somebody doing it for them.
And don't forget, the government lies to you. They lie to you constantly. And if they didn't lie to you, they wouldn't have so much classified information out there, right? They're keeping it secret. Even when they get forced by law to reveal the information that's not even classified, they cover it up because it might, rich guys. Once again, the government is a spooky little thing that's used by the right wing all the time. Government. You are the government. You can take over the government simply by voting. But they're never going to be transparent because they got too many secrets. So they lie to you. Sorry.
All right, and mark your bingo board for Roger goes on another non sequitur twice in a row.
This is all about governments lying to you when they tell you things are safe. Really? That's why people don't trust vaccines. Now, it doesn't mean vaccines don't work. It means that people have a built-in mistrust of a bunch of lying motherfuckers. And how many times are you going to lie to us about, oh, let's start a war here? You know, that kind of shit. Where we stop, hey, fuck you. You're lying again. And you never believe any of them again. This is why most people don't vote or don't want to vote. It feels like a chore to vote. It really does.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, sometimes I really want to vote, and other times it's like, oh boy, these are my choices, really? Okay, anyway. Hey, it's Monday Soapbox Day. You gave me a lot of time to think.
We've got all the soap.
Plus, I'm wide awake. This ain't
Plenty
like
of
Thursday
soap.
or Friday where I wake up at 8
I can,
o'clock.
I'm
You
gonna,
call me, right?
Yeah, okay. I can call you earlier tomorrow and Wednesday. It's fine for me.
No, you can, this is fine. I'm used to it. Once you get me on a clock, you can't be.
Well, I think I will be
that.
calling you early on Wednesday because I have to go do stuff on New Year's.
Oh, it's New Year's
yeah.
Eve?
Yes.
Wait,
on the eve.
New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they set off fireworks. So maybe I'll get rid of all my firecrackers. I have some like 15-year-old firecrackers I need to get rid of. I just gotta throw them in a campfire and run. Anyway, just New Year's Eve, why not?
Yeah, of course.
You know,
just throw them in a
shooting
trash
guns
can.
And shit. Safer than a gun. Not in a trash can. I'll blow my trash can apart. You know, fire, and like it'll put the fire out though. The first one will put the fire out. It does. It puts fires out. It blows all the ash around. Just. I am totally off the subject. So yeah, I guess you can call me early Wednesday, but I did have to go to the post office early this morning.
Okay.
Because when they opened,
I'll wake you up so you can go to the post office, I guess. Right. Let's go. Our next segue for your stories.
We're getting another sale. Oh boy, I got.
Let me actually get
right,
segue wheel up here. Segue, go.
We're gonna put the Trump name on all over these Epstein files as much as we want to, because we feel like he gets a free pass in these media clowns that gloss over everything he's ever done. And last year, about 18 months ago, right? Bad pun. Last year, about every news organization last year, this mid-July, I think it was. Did you know that Joe Biden is old? Did you know he's old? Oh, he's old. Look how old he is. That was the #1 story that made Joe Biden withdraw.
He said one thing wrong one time, so he's obviously unfit for office.
One of his advisors decided to schedule a debate in June. When can we wait until inflation gets lower?
He doesn't know who the best player in the NBA is right now. He's obviously too delirious to run a country.
Yeah, he misspoke.
I'm just giving an example of a ridiculous reason to say somebody's not fit for its office. Like, you don't know. It's not important if you know who the best NBA player is.
It doesn't matter what context it is, because once again, you got to be letter perfect if you're in the left in the United States, and the right wing can just, shoot puppies in the head, right? They can do that shit. Trump can just molest people and break the law and steal classified documents. All that stuff's okay. The news media will gloss it over because they're in bed with all the other fascists, because they are owned by the fascists. Why would the fascists who own the news media allow reports that report on them and their policies get out there? CBS News is already suppressing news. Oh no, we're going to paint somebody in bad light. CBS, the 60 Minutes used to be out there for blood. Not anymore.
They would ask leading questions even, right? They would be like, and what do you think about touching kids? Well, you can't ask me that question.
And the major news media does not even freaking cover this story. And it's LGBnation.com. We got a story from. We're gonna get everything from wherever sources we can. It's not CBS, because we know they're gonna leak in a bunch of crap in there to cover their asses. And the headline from Danielle Villarreal is Trump watched as girl's newborn was murdered and dumped in a lake. Epstein document says a woman told the FBI that when she was 13 years old, Donald Trump watched as her uncle murdered her newborn child and dumped its tiny corpse into Lake Michigan. Her claims appears in an FBI document among Epstein files newly released by the Department of Justice, but it's unclear if the FBI ever investigated her claim. You guys didn't investigate the claim. Why not? Well, then you can't say it's false, because if you say it's false now, you haven't covered your asses, have you, FBI? Oh, it's false. Did you check it out? Oh, no. Huh? In this document, the unnamed woman, and hopefully this woman's out there still available to be interviewed. Who knows? She had a rough life.
Also, a lot of these people have disappeared in these documents.
Yeah. The unnamed woman says Trump participated regularly in paying money to force me to redacted with him. I think they were just playing tennis, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Forced me to play tennis with him. Play with his balls, anyway. And he was present when my uncle murdered my newborn child and disposed of the body in Lake Michigan. Now, who is going to frame their uncle like that unless somebody is telling the truth? And I don't know why anybody would have some kind of vendetta against their own uncle. It makes no sense to me. It sounds like the truth. The woman claims that she was sex trafficked by her uncle and now deceased billionaire Jeffrey Epstein in 1984, who did not kill himself, when she was 13 and pregnant. I told the FBI agent some other important information about other high-profile individuals involved in my sex trafficking and the murder and disposal of my newborn daughter because I gave birth to her while in the middle of this ordeal, the woman told the FBI. On Wednesday, the DOJ announced the discovery of over 1 million documents about Epstein and promised to work to redact and release the files. The DOJ violated federal law by refusing to release all of its files on Jeffrey Epstein by the required December 19th deadline, which is now, how about 2 weeks? And they still say they got 100,000 documents they're not going to release, which makes no fucking sense because you were supposed to release all documents. So again, the only reason they could ever have for that is to protect national security, and they can work around that too. The department now says its release will take months. Members of Congress are considering legal consequences for the DOJ's noncompliance. An unprecedented message. The DOJ has said that its newly released file contain untrue and sensationalist claims against Trump. Oh, really? How do you know they're untrue? You didn't investigate them. Hello? Oh, we didn't investigate these claims because they're sensational. So yeah, what's your point? Investigate the claims. The thing is, they have the people's names. They could probably find them right now. And then say, hey, we investigated this claim. Or just say these people are dead. Here's how they died, or whatever. Do something. They'll just say untrue and sensationalist, which is horse shit. And why are you just defending Trump, not everybody else? Only Trump gets defended by the FBI. Isn't that fucking interesting? Among the only other newly released files is a letter that Epstein wrote to fellow serial child molester Larry Nassar, who I've not heard of, but serial child molester, you know, birds of a feather. Just
which means they've actually been found out. Right, they've actually been convicted.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's a letter, actual physical evidence that fellow serial child molester Larry Nassar, just before his death, that said that Trump shares our love of young nubile girls. Our president shares our love of young nubile girls, Epstein wrote in a 2019 letter. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab snatch, whereas we ended up snatching grub in the mess halls of the system. Okay, that's very clever. I guess for a stupid retard like Epstein, that's clever. There's your fun little story that the news media is burying because they're chicken shit. Let's have us what was it? I wrote it down. It was a pun, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can make a bad pun about this or a funny pun about it.
Puns are all bad. There is no good pun.
Well, I mean more of like a funny one, I guess.
Let her rip.
I don't want to let her do anything. I want everyone to leave her alone. There you go. There's her pun.
Okay, there you go. That was just a figure of speech. Wisconsinism, if you
I don't think that's a Wisconsin phrase. It's a normal idiom.
Let her rip. No, it's like get that thing going. Let her rip.
Yeah, but I just don't think it only.
Start your snowmobile, eh?
I don't think it's only
story.
in Wisconsin.
Next, we're going to talk about the weather again. Update the. Oh, it's snowing in winter, but this is a little bit more than usual. It's
You didn't give me a laugh or anything.
Well, I don't know. I can't laugh. You didn't just, Okay, sorry. You only
you could give me a groan or something. Yeah, I did the soundboard for you. There you go. Thank you.
Okay. There you go now. No travel advisories remain in place across southern Minnesota. And this is basically local Minnesota story, but it's about everything east of Minnesota also. Especially the Great Lakes, where you get that fun lake effect snow.
Oh, yeah.
NPR News, this is Minnesota Public Radio, which is a great public radio. They got some of the best radio shows. No travel advisories remain in place across most of the southern Minnesota on Monday morning. Ongoing blizzard conditions. Winds are still gusting more than 40 miles per hour across the region, causing blowing and drifting snow. Parts of central and southern Minnesota and western Wisconsin saw more than a half a foot of snow on Sunday. Just note, Minnesota does not get lake effect snow. Wisconsin will get it close to Lake Michigan, a little bit off Lake Superior, but weather systems tend to go east, and they're west of the Great Lakes. Interstate 35 remain closed in both directions. I mean, they get the lake effect snow from Hudson Bay. Interstate, I don't know. I mean, it all comes from the water. I mean, from the evaporating water. Interstate 35 remained closed in both directions from Albert Lee south to Ames, Iowa. Governor Tim Walz on Sunday evening authorized the Minnesota National Guard to help support the emergency response to the storm. The state has received requests for National Guard assistance from the Freeborn County Sheriff's Office to provide personnel, equipment, facilities, and sources necessary to respond to the severe weather and rescue stranded motorists. The governor's office reported. Freeborn County includes stretches of Interstates 35 and 90 near Albert Lee, which is way down south, almost Iowa. NPR News, that's a little update for that. Emergency shelter was set up overnight at the National Guard Armory in Albert Lee. A stretch of U.S. Highway 71 south of Redwood Falls is also closed Monday morning due to drifting snow along with State Highway between 60 between Windham and St. James. The State Highway Patrol responded to at least 422 crashes across Minnesota from early Sunday, 31 resulting in injuries. They also reported 470 spinouts or vehicles in a ditch and 29 jackknife semi-trucks. Yeah, it's snowing out there. Snow reports include 7 inches in Burnsville, 6.5 inches in Otsego, 5.8 inches in the Twin Cities Airport, and 4 inches in Rochester. If you're going to be a truck driver in Minnesota in the wintertime, put chains on your stinking truck. Just wanted to tell you that. Don't be, oh boy, I can make it. No, you can't.
If you're not already doing it,
that's a big, dangerous vehicle you're driving. Yeah. You're going to kill somebody with your recklessness. That's way too many jackknife vehicles. Put chains on your tires. Silly Minnesota people. They got to be from somewhere else.
Yeah, there's no way. You can't grow up in Minnesota and not be doing that by default. Very weird.
And don't say you can't afford it and you're a trucking company in Minnesota. And if my poor ass family could afford tire chains, I'm sure some big trucking firm can. Roads remained icy and covered in snow early Monday. While the snow has largely ended, the gusty winds and falling temperatures added difficult driving conditions. We kind of just covered this whole thing. It's got a bunch of highway closures. If you're not in Minnesota, it doesn't affect you that much what highways are closed. Let's assume, just for safety's sake, that all the highways are closed. Let's do that. Okay, so that's our story.
It's all closed. Well, there's nothing.
Here's some more restrictions. Wait, let's do some restrictions. Okay. Minneapolis has snow emergencies, and to give public work crews time to clear snow from city streets, here's what they do because a lot of people park in the streets. 9 p.m. Sunday to 8 a.m. Monday, which is already passed. Do not park on either side of a snow emergency route until 8 a.m. or until the street is fully plowed. Snow emergency routes are marked with signs. The city also has an online map of all snow emergency routes. From 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., do not park on the even-numbered side of a non-snow emergency route. What the hell's the even-numbered side? Look at the house numbers. Anyway, for parkways, do not park on either side until 8 p.m. or until the parkway is fully plowed. So you got even numbers on Monday. Do not park on the even numbered. And on Tuesday, you just move your car to the other side. You say, hey, now you can plow that side and we don't have to worry about having to move our car, get our car moved. Because I tell you what, you think it's bad getting your car piled on with 2 or 3 feet of snow. It's even worse when the snow plow plows you in with about 7 or 8 feet of snow, because that's how big the wall's going to be around your car. And you got to wait for it to melt or something, because you ain't going to be in your car. I just say, man, pay attention to those. There's your story. I love the city rules. I just never grew up in a city, but I love the rules.
Like, yeah, where to park.
Yeah,
But you wouldn't have to. You have your own driveway. You wouldn't have to worry about that yourself.
Does make for a great YouTube video, though, when the snowplow comes up to your car and just plows all that snow to the back of your car.
Not our problem. We told you where to park.
Right, and then they go in front of your car, plow all that snow in front of your car, and then they go to the side of your car, plow all the snow on the side of your car, and then they move on to the rest of the street where people obey the rules. But you can make a great video as you try to dig in to get your car, or whatever you do. Where's my car? Maybe they just hit it and drag it down the street. That'll be even better. Some inexperienced plow driver.
My pun for that is, a man went to buy long underwear because the weather was getting cold. Cashier asked, how long would you like them? The man replied, from March to December.
Oh, yo. There we go. On the board, off the board.
There we go. Pretty good.
All right, there you go. That's a good one. It's like, how long are you going to be gone? The whole time. Same principle.
I'm not leaving the house until March.
Where are you going? Out? There you go. Sure.
Let's roll our segue for my next stories for this mucking fun day. It is alliteration headline.
Oh no, I gotta think again. All right.
And we're going to be talking about South Korea. They're switching from coal to LNG gas deals, but that's casting doubt over their climate pledges because LNG is just a lesser evil to coal. It's still not a solution to, saving the environment. This is by Anton Le Delgado and Kim Tong-kyung on AP News, coming out of Seoul, Korea. South Korea is promising to shrink its reliance on coal power as part of its pledge to reduce carbon emissions that contribute to climate change. But that ambition is at odds with Clown-in-Chief administration's push for more U.S. natural gas exports. Please buy our natural gas so that we can make money while we destroy the environment. At a recent United Nations climate talk, South Korea's new Ministry of Climate and Energy and Environment announced plans to retire most of the country's coal-fired power plants by 2040 and to at least halve its carbon emissions by 2035. Experts say this shows that South Korea, a major coal importer with one of the world's largest fleet of coal plants, wants to speed up its renewable energy transition, which lags behind its neighbors and global averages. I think even China has a better transition than Korea, and they're a bigger country. But as part of the trade deals with President and Clown, convicted felon Trump, so that's what I usually say, convicted felon Trump, Seoul is raising imports of U.S. liquefied natural gas, or LNG. Climate activists contend such plans may conflict with the country's pledges to help curb climate change and could lock South Korea into a fossil fuel dependent future. Talks are underway for South Korea to invest $350 billion US dollars projects and purchases up to $100 billion US dollars worth of US energy products, including LNG, a natural gas cooled to liquid form for easy storage and travel. It burns cleaner than coal, but still causes planet warming emissions, especially of methane, which if you've watched any of the show before, you would know that methane is A smaller amount of methane can store more heat in our atmosphere and stays there longer. So methane is actually worse than carbon dioxide because it takes longer to dissipate and it stores more heat in the atmosphere. South Korea's overall LNG imports may not increase if it offsets purchases of more U.S. natural gas by reducing imports from other sources such as Australia and the Middle East. Still, it's unclear how South Korea will manage and consolidate all that somehow contradictory planning regarding its energy sector, said Michelle Kim, an energy specialist for the U.S.-based Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis. South Korea's Liberal President Lee Jae-myung, who won a snap election in June, campaigned for stronger climate commitments. They had softened under his conservative predecessor Yoon Suk-yeol, who was ousted after a short-lived martial law declaration. As the global temperature rises, we all need to responsibly take climate action, and Korea will have a stronger sense of responsibility in tackling the climate crisis, Kim Sung-kwon, and the inaugural Minister of Climate, Energy and Environment, said in an interview with the Associated Press. South Korea's goal to cut carbon emissions by 53% to 61% of its 2018 level fell short of climate activists' expectation. Business lobbies representing major manufacturers had proposed a 48% emission reduction target. So just, what would that be? Like 5 points more than what the businesses wanted? Oh boy, you're really showing them. This range represents an effort by the government to accommodate two very different ways of thinking about the economic and climate future of the nation, said Joo-jin Kim of Seoul-based advocacy group Solutions for Our Climate. The South Korean government made the ambitious commitment to increase its clean energy use even after Trump's sweeping America First tariffs spurred energy negotiations between Seoul and Washington. As part of its broader efforts to avoid higher tariffs, South Korea offered to import more LNG from the U.S., but the final trade deal has not been announced. The agreement still under negotiation could last between 3 to 10 years, according to industry analysis and U.S. federal documents. Depending on the deal's duration, South Korea may import between 3 million to 9 million tons of American LNG a year. LNG made up almost a fifth of South Korea's total energy supply last year, according to International Energy Agency, or IEA. The government's target was to cut that to 10.6 by 2038. But if they buy more, they're not going to be cutting anything. South Korea risks its climate goals if the pending trade deal increases the total volume of imported LNG, which will likely lead to an oversupply of issue and the excess burning of gas to justify the deal, said Lee Sung-lee. I mean, does LNG go bad over time? It might. I guess it could leak. I guess you have to keep it cool, so you have to use energy to even keep it frozen. With Greenpeace, In Sung-lee from Greenpeace in Seoul said, "If we just replace coal plants with LNG, that means coal exit actually doesn't lead to green transition and merely shifts Korea's addiction from coal to gas, which undermines the whole spirit of climate action," Lee said. Renewable energy generated 7% of South Korea's domestic power in 2022, according to IEA. South Korean government data showed they had increased to 10.5 last year, which is only 3%. That's not enough. Still one of the lowest levels amongst leading economies. Japan, with an economy more than twice as big, generates 21% of its power from renewable sources. Of course, we talked about its what was it called? Osmosis plant that they just put down too. Get one of those, Korea. Spain, whose economy is about the same size as South Korea's, gets 42% of its power from renewable sources. Clean energy provided about 30% of global electricity production in 2023. Nuclear power produces a major share of South Korea's domestic energy, with government data showing that nuclear sources accounted for 31% of total electricity generated last year. "We will transition into a new energy system that focuses on renewables and nuclear while phasing out coal," said Kim, the energy minister. He said South Korea will use LNG as a complementary or emergency energy source to make up for irregularities in renewable energy supplies. In early December, South Korea set a new goal of boosting its offshore wind power to 4 gigawatts, about 10 times the current level. Are they building those wind turbines or what? With natural gas. They're going to build them out of natural gas. South Korea companies that don't cut back on carbon emissions may find that be competitive disadvantage, said Michelle Kim of the IEEFA. Many global industries, including shipping and aviation, face pressures to reduce their emissions by providing incentives for low emitters and creating deterrents for high ones, she said. This is a lot of risk. South Korea needs to speed up renewable energy deployment and come out from high dependency on the fossil fuel industry. Will they be able to do it though? Nobody knows. At the climate talk last month, South Korea joined Powering Past Coal Alliance, a group of businesses, organizations, and governments promoting green energy tradition. That's mainly a symbolic mood, said Bruce Douglas with the Global Renewables Alliance, but it signifies a very clear government intention to move away from fossil fuels and towards clean power. South Korea imports virtually all its coal, largely from Australia, Indonesia, and Russia, and the switch to renewables is bound to impact regional markets. The pledge to retire 40 of South Korea's 61 coal sites by 2040 may be an enforced transition for coal exporters in Asia-Pacific region, said James Bowen with Climate Analytics. It's a reality that they're going to have to face this downturn in the market. The writing's on the wall, Bowen said. One of the biggest importers in the world, one of the biggest customers, is starting to move away from coal. So, I guess that's a big step. It's still a big step for Korea since they're one of the biggest importers. It's still a positive step forward for the climate, but it's not, hopefully, where they'll stop, right? They need to go farther than that. Every country needs to go farther than just cutting coal off. They need to cut all of the gas and oil and stuff and just use it for other things. I don't know what you can use coal for, but use it for something else. But figure it out. I'm sure there's other uses for coal. But there is my story on South Korea's climate change.
All right, so I got a headline for you. The headline should read, by the way, the chemical formula and the reason why it puts so much carbon in the atmosphere. The chemical formula for methane is CH4. That means for every molecule of carbon is 4 molecules of hydrogen, which is what you're burning, is the hydrogen, and the carbon is the byproduct. The carbon combines with the oxygen, makes CO2,
and that's why it lasts longer in the atmosphere, because it does chemical reactions up there.
Yeah, it makes C2O2, which is carbon dioxide. Also makes CO2. Yeah, CO2 is well, anyway, it makes carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. I'm having trouble spitting this out, but I will have a headline. CH4 and coal can't compete with clean carbon neutral consolidated. If you consolidate all your clean energy, you can bank it for later. That's what you do with that's what they do with batteries, and that's why batteries are getting multiple produced, and people are mining for rare earth minerals for batteries because they require.
And that's why all the people doing research, right? Research on these chemical compounds and discovering ways you can transform them and use them for something else, because you know, coal really is just a natural form, right? It's not made anywhere. You just find it in the ground. And there should be ways for humans to take it, turn it into something new. Who knows? I'm not a scientist, so I can't tell you, but I'm sure there's somebody doing experiments trying to figure out what do we do with all this coal that's in surplus, being stored in places because nobody's buying coal anymore.
Yeah, we should have these billionaires investing in ways to get rare earth metals and make batteries a lot cheaper. Because batteries, once you make them, those chemicals don't really go anywhere once they discharge. They just deionize in a lithium battery. They start ionize and then they deionize, and that's where all the power is generated. But they only last for so many charges, but you can recycle them, plus the materials in them you can recycle. Anyway, that's a long diatribe about that. Do you have another story? Because that one.
Yeah, I have one short story. This is a weather update, I guess, since you were talking about your northern U.S. weather update.
Oh, okay.
Here's a natural disaster update from Peru. Sadly, there has been a 6 magnitude earthquake that shakes Peru's coast and has triggered a national emergency. It happened at 9:51 p.m. local time, and its epicenter was somewhere in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of the Ancash region. This is on Telsur. The Geophysical Institute of Peru, IGP, reported that the country is in a state of emergency after a magnitude 6 earthquake was recorded Saturday night. which would have been, I think, the 27th of December, with repercussions in Lima, Trujillo, Cajamarca, and Chibote. The earthquake occurred at 9:51 local time, which was about 2:51 GMT, which is UK time, on Sunday, the 28th of December, with its epicenter in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Ancash, according to authorities. In the case of Chimbote, the phenomenon was located 67 kilometers west of the city with an intensity of a level 5. Although no structural damage or casualties have been reported, the National Emergency Operations Center, COEN, indicated that monitoring is being maintained in vulnerable areas, especially for those dangerous tidal waves. In Lima, this event was the 4th earthquake in less than 24 hours. At 9:22 a.m. on Saturday, the 27th of December, another tremor in the magnitude 3.5 was recorded, with its epicenter 24 kilometers west of Calo. Chronologically, the first tremor occurred on Friday at 7:35 p.m. with a magnitude of 4.8, which was the 26th of December, and an epicenter 52 kilometers southwest of Supe Puerto in the Lima region. Subsequent tremors were reported in Callao, and finally in the strongest one off the coast of Ancash. The constant succession of earthquake is due to Peru's location in the Pacific Ring of Fire, an area where more than 80% of the world's seismic activity is concentrated, a result of the collision of tectonic plates. Despite the risk, the Directorate of Hydrography and Navigation of the Peruvian Navy confirmed that the event does not generate a tsunami on the Peruvian coast. So that's good to hear. No tsunamis, no casualties or harm done as of yet have been reported. But I guess if you have people who live in Peru, check on them and ask about them. And I guess I'm sure they're used to it by now, being in Peru. But you never know. You never be content to your situation. You always have to treat every earthquake seriously, because it might actually be serious one of these times. Magnitude 6 ain't no joke.
No, we had 2. I don't know if you even felt them though. In Oklahoma, we had 2 in like 3 months. I felt them. I was like, "Whoa, that's an earthquake! I know what that is." I think you were sleeping one time. Both times you might have been sleeping. I don't remember.
Go ahead and give me your alliteration. I'm ready for it.
Big. But I couldn't find them. So A big is going to have to stand for big, right? Here we go. Alliteration headline goes like this. Ancash almost annoyed, alarmed, alerted, and awakened. Also, anxiously await a big one. 6.0 is no joke if you're in it, like the middle.
Yeah.
It's no joke when the wave's coming at you. But there's some bigger ones that have been happening recently. And if you're in a ring of fire, you know you're in a ring of fire most of the time because there's a giant volcano next to you. But a lot of the times you don't realize you're in a ring of fire, or you're on fault, which is even worse. You're like what's one in the Midwest?
Which is where fault is where the tectonic plates are separating. So slowly your house and the street across the house are going to be farther away.
There's a fault directly. That is a fault coincident right directly in the middle of the United States. Yeah. It's the you can look it up. Anyway, that had the biggest.
There's actually a video not from Peru, but a video from Indonesia. I think that showed a street just suddenly have a curve in it. It was a straight road, and then suddenly you can see it on camera like shift 8 feet added to the curvature of the road.
Right. Oh. When I was in the Marines, I had an earthquake in Yucca Valley, which wasn't too far, and all the power went out. I had fire watch at the time. I had fire watch and the power went out. I was actually sitting on the washing machine filling out the logbook, and when the power went out, I slid off the washing machine, and by the time I landed, I was facing another direction, and I was about 7 feet from the washing machine. I swear to you, I was not even close to the washing machine, and I was not facing the same direction. The ground moved under me. It was dark, right? I could not find where I was. Completely dark. No emergency power, nothing. It's like, holy shit, that must have been an earthquake. But anyway, there was video of that, a crack forming right down the middle of a highway. Somebody got there back then on a VCR, one of them little camcorders, and filmed the crack, forming right in the middle of the frickin' road. Pretty cool. And I don't know, look up New Madrid fault. I don't know. It was a really strong earthquake. I think it was around an 8. And that happened in Missouri. That fault's in Missouri somewhere. New Madrid, Missouri.
All right, let's roll our segue wheel.
Country. Not on the coast, not in the ring of fire. It's just a fault. It's where them plates are hitting or separating or whatever the hell they're doing.
We are indeed on a living planet.
We are
I think it's time for me to associate your story with something.
Okay, we're gonna first do the story about. We'll do our. When people die in 91, it's not everybody goes 91 ain't so bad. But we're gonna do the China story first, because China just won't let go. Just can't go over that girlfriend that got away. Keep threatening Taiwan until they get a restraining order from a judge, perhaps. Reuters.com, no cash, you lead when ye leave. China's record drills designed to encircle Taiwan. China launched its most extensive war games around Taiwan on Monday to showcase Beijing's ability to cut off the island from outside support in a conflict, testing Taipei's resolve to defend itself and its arsenal of U.S.-made weapons. So what will you go? Will Trump go to war with China? That's an interesting question. Trump wants to start a war to distract from the Epstein files. That's why he's bombing Nigeria and trying to provoke a war with Venezuela. The Eastern Theater Command said it had deployed troops, warships, fighter jets, and artillery for its Justice Mission 2025 exercises to encircle the democratically governed island, conduct live fire and simulated strikes on land and sea targets, and drills to blockade Taiwan's main ports. The live firing exercises will continue on Tuesday across a record 7 zones designed by China's Maritime Safety Administration, making drills the largest to date by total coverage in areas closer to Taiwan than previous exercises. The military initially said the artillery firing would be confined to 5 zones. They're probably firing blanks because you're not going to. Maybe they are firing live rounds. Wasting live rounds. You might as well cook them off. They're going to cook off on their own, right? We know from experience, because we lived right by a bomb factory, what happens when bombs get too old. They got to blow them up on purpose before they blow up everything in sight by setting a chain reaction. The live fire exercises will continue Tuesday across record 7 zones. Taiwan's defense ministry said there was also an extra zone for a 2-hour drill on Monday morning, which took place without a Chinese announcement in the eastern waters of the island. The transport, maybe some idiot was shooting at the wrong target. That's why they need training exercises. They're not very good. That could be a possibility. Well, they were shooting at that thing. Yeah, that guy's incompetent. We shot him. The transport ministry said more than 100,000 passengers on scheduled international flights will be affected by Tuesday's drills. So you're afraid to even fly because they got anti-aircraft all over the place. While around 80 domestic flights are set to be canceled. Jesus Christ, this is going to suck. China's 6th major round of war games since 2022, after then U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited the democratically governed island, which doesn't give them diplomatic status, but it does recognize their government as legitimate, right? You're visiting a legitimate government. Meanwhile, Trump visited North Korea, which is pure communism, like the stuff you MAGA people hate. Well, you purport to hate. And he's like, oh, yeah, he made peace with them. We already had peace with them, you fucking moron. He didn't get anything. Didn't stop him from developing a nuclear weapon or anything. Nancy Pelosi put it on the line. Didn't really formally recognize him. Follows stronger, and she visited there, and it follows stronger Beijing's territorial claims in response to Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Tagachi suggesting China attack from Tokyo. That's what we need. We don't need only the United States sticking up for Taiwan. We have to go Japan. Yeah, you kicked China's ass once. You were shitty about it, but you did it, right? It's in your history. Our armed forces operate in the principle of preparing for the worst and must take every possible scenario into account. Hasai Jiashing, Deputy Chief of General Staff for Intelligence at Taiwan's Defense Ministry, told reporters when asked about Tuesday's drills, conducting live fire exercises around Taiwan Strait would not only constitute military pressure on us, but also pose more complex challenges and impacts for international neighboring countries. Again, because I don't want to believe arms sales to Taiwan. So I don't think Trump minds provoking a war. He's not going to fight on it. So
no, he'll get a bone spur.
I would say he's a walking bone spur. The largest ever weapons package for the island, drawing protests from China's defense ministry, and rightfully Trump should tell them to go pack in. You fucking want? You give weapons to Iran against our fucking wishes. So go pound sand, fuckwads. We're getting Taiwan because they're defenseless, you clowns. Anyway, I'll agree with Trump on that. You gotta give these people a way to defend themselves. You really believe in democracy, which he just wants to start a war. I know his reasons. They are sending a strong message on external interference, said Che Chung, a researcher at Taiwan's Institute. Is it interference if you're just selling weapons to people who need weapons to defend themselves? I don't know. We've been doing it all along. There are all kinds of people. At least it's right in the open. We're not like hiding it. We're not doing arms deals behind the back like the CIA's done for years and years. The guerrilla forces.
Remember what I've always said, which is, if it's illegal, it's illegal you sell weapons. But if a government do it, it's okay, okay?
That's right. Exactly. The profit motive exists in everything. Don't forget that. I've always claimed that government contractors legitimate socialism. Government contractors, they build all of their costs into the contract. That the contract pays for all of their costs, and they got profit. That's what government contracts are. It's silly. Anyway, there's your story. It's going to go on for a while. We know the story in Taiwan. It used to be called Formosa. Chiang Kai-shek was overthrown as a democratic type leader of China in what they call the Cultural Revolution or the Chinese Communist March or what the hell they call that crap. Mao took over. And they wore them stupid uniforms and they've been communists ever since. They assert that there's a possibility of private property in China, but I'm pretty sure the government could just take over any property they want anytime they want to. So they're still communists. Anyway, so let's have us, what was it again? Shit, like an hour started reading this.
I'm going to associate with this with something, which I kind of already did, which is the whole, starting wars when you've never fought in one, basically,
Yep.
Convicted felon Trump wants to start a war,
Russia.
even though he dodged the draft, a draft dodger.
I'm going to connect 3 dots here, okay? Trump knew Epstein, right? Epstein knew Putin. Trump does everything Putin wants. Can we connect the dots? Does Putin have all the Epstein files? Oh, yes, he does. And not the non-redacted ones either. The whole shebang. He's blackmailing the shit out of a lot of people. Or he's trying, right? He's trying, but yeah. He's getting kickback after kickback from billionaire after billionaire who's in the Epstein files. Don't you worry about old Vlad. He worked in the KGB.
Oh, I'm not worried about him. He's paranoid. He's paranoid enough that I don't need to worry about him.
He knows what he's doing, and he's harvesting organs from young people, and he's drinking blood like a vampire. So he knows he's going to live to be 175. So we're stuck with that piece of shit for a while, unless somebody in Russia, has a freaking, a weapon of some sort. I don't know, open windows. That happens all the time. Anyway, Russia, you're screwed. until this guy goes away. Sorry, we're in the same situation because our guy works for your guy. All right, then. So we got some more bad news, but we're going to remember a star of stage and screen. Well, the screen and of course pinup posters or folders, if you like to fold them, right? This is from Time.com.
All right, next
Bridget
story.
Bardot. Yeah, Bridget Bardot, icon and provocateur, dead at 91. Veronique Greenwood, some months before her death, Bridget Bardot gave an interview with BFM TV. 11 years had passed since she last appeared on the screen, the journalist Steve Bellery remarked. Why step in front of a camera now, Bardot? Small but stately on the sofa in her home in Saint-Tropez replied, I'm going to war. Bardot, who leapt to global stardom as a nubile rebel in the 1956 film And God Created Woman, wanted the French government to outlaw hunting wild animals with hounds, which she called a horror. It was a more characteristic of the latter half of her actress' life, during which the plight of animals from the stray dogs of Bucharest, I didn't know that word, I don't know why I had trouble reading it, to Arctic seal pups was often foremost in her mind. Her foundation, this is French after all, Fondation Bridget Bardot has run shelters, sterilization, adoption campaigns, and conservation efforts around the world since 1986. But Bardot's death at 91 was announced by her foundation, was also a vocal proponent of far-right politics in France. Oh, shit. She decried Muslim immigration in public letters and in books, and she was repeatedly found guilty of provoking racial hatred. Well, loved animals and hated everybody else. There's a lot of people like that.
You know, animals also are immigrants, you know. They don't believe in nation borders.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Born in 1934, Bridget Bardot was the eldest daughter of a wealthy Parisian family. She studied, well, there you go, wealthy Parisian family. You guys had a revolution about this stuff. She studied ballet and became a model as a young teenager, eventually making the acquaintance of filmmaker Roger Vadim, who would become her first husband. I'm going to say this wealthiness gave her a sense of entitlement, therefore the hatred of the other. Oh, I'm better because I'm different. They're different than me, and I'm not different from them. You see how this works, right? That's how it works, guys.
Reminder for the 50,000th time ever, Muslims believe in the same God as Christians. The same guy. Just want to clarify.
Same invisible man.
Yeah.
Same invisible man that they have never proven to exist at any point. But go ahead, believe what you want, right? Go ahead, believe what you want. I'll believe what I want, and I believe I don't know. It's very simple. At the age of 18, she starred her first husband, which was Roger Vadim. To get back to the story, at the age of 18, she starred in And God Created Woman, and became a global blockbuster and a scandal magnet, and created a reputation as a sex symbol. She appeared in numerous films over the next 2 decades, including Jean-Luc Godard's New Wave film concept. She was famous for her languid stare and full-lipped smile, and embodying a new kind of female sexual emancipation. Well, there you go, man. That's a sex symbol for y'all. Bardot's last film was the edifying, getting Sam Altman voice there. Almost got Bobby Kennedy voice. Bardot's last film was the edifying and joyous story of Calling Out. She publicly announced she was retiring from acting. She turned her attention to activism on behalf of animals, and in 1977 was photographed lying on ice in Canada with a harp seal pup as part of Greenpeace campaign against a seal hunt. She is liberal on one side, conservative on the other. Very, very conflicted woman.
That is a common meme. That is a common meme as well. Oh no, that poor dog. Oh, that person getting murdered. Nothing.
Oh yeah. Oh, that poor little puppy seal that somebody's making into a coat. We can't have people making shoes out of these things. Oh, but kill them Muslim kids. Go ahead. You know, it's so sad, right? People are like that. They just think some fucking idiotic religion is important, and it's just some shit you believe. That's all it is. That's all it is. It ain't shit you can prove. You can build 40 billion churches. It doesn't prove anything. It proves you can build churches. In 1992, Well, I don't know what to say. That's an impressive church. They must really believe in God a lot. Doesn't affect me, but hey, they went to a lot of trouble. In 1992, Bardot married Bernard de Ormale, a businessman and advisor to Jean-Marie Le Pen, the leader of France's far-right National Front. Oh, I see. There we go. I forgot about that. She did marry that guy. She began to make waves with public letters and statements against various groups in society. She started hanging with people. She didn't use her brain until up then. It was full of no politics except taking care of animals. She marries a rich guy who's got a lot of political influence and starts absorbing his politics out of osmosis because her only friends now are his friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she had contempt for homosexuals and Muslims. Sued by civil rights groups, she was eventually convicted 5 times for citing racial hatred. After Bardot's death was announced, politician Marine Le Pen, the daughter of Jean-Marie Le Pen, and we know this name, France has lost an exceptional woman remarkable for her talent, courage, frankness, and beauty. Remarkable is a good word for that because it doesn't mean good or bad. It just means you can make remarks about it. It's remarkable. Right?
Yeah.
Like saying something's fantastic. Dude, something being fantastic means it's something you imagined. It's a fantasy. The word fantasy, fantastic. People are silly with their words. They think words mean things that they don't mean. Also on X, or maybe he was being honest. He was merely remarkable, not like outstanding or... I mean, she was courageous in the stand against animals, right? Because she loved animals, not so much people, like I said before. Also on X, the president of the French Republic, Emmanuel Macron, wrote that Bardot embodied the life of freedom. She touched us. We mourn. A legend of this century. As I say, man, Bridget Bardot wasn't really part of my life except a few songs I know. One is by Bob Dylan, and it's one of his first albums where he's talking about...
Well, you're also not French, so she probably did more in France.
Right. And one about the Pretenders, which I sent you a link to. So we're going to remember Bridget Bardot in song. There's your story. Let's have the... Lost track of what we're doing.
If you sent me that link, you did not send me it. So you need to send me it again. Yeah, you sent me something about Russia.
Oh, no. Then we won't.
Okay.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Okay, we'll do it tomorrow, I guess. And, well, I guess I mean, there's a lot of people who get stuck in this terrible, paradigm. I want to use a fancy word. You know, you care about something, you know, you have ideals, you have principles you stand up for, and then there's people out there who will find people who are like that, give them some more things to care about really deeply, and the next thing you know, you're spreading hate. You're telling people to hate each other for no other reasons because you've been fed a bunch of propaganda from a bunch of people who are actually have... I'm not saying she's a victim, right? But that's how easy it is for you at home, to get burned up into the circle and spiral of hate because people tell you, hey, you need to care about this. Yeah. So never trust... That's why I always say never trust a politician who tells you, hey... Did you know this is happening and you need to care about it? If they say those words, they're up to something. What they should do is tell you something happened and then you decide if you care and want to do something about it. Do not let a politician or somebody who wants to be a politician tell you need to care about something. Yeah.
She was an influencer before that word existed. And this happens at light speed nowadays because Nicki Minaj, look, she married some...
What's even worse is bots on social media will be telling you to care about something, and they're not even real people that care about it because they're robots.
Well, you're familiar with Nicki Minaj, right? She went on to the Talking Points USA shit and opened her obnoxious mouth and called, what did she say? She said that JD Vance was an assassin. I showed that one. Like, she legitimately said those words to somebody whose husband was assassinated. She used that as a metaphor for his political style. She used the word assassin. She is so stupid to do that. And she's now MAGA. She's married. I'm pretty sure she's married to a right winger. That's the reason. She's Bridget Bardot all over again. She's using her popularity for evil. now. And she got lost 10
Evil.
million followers. 10 million followers overnight. 10 million. Having 10 million followers is amazing. Losing 10 million followers is even more amazing. That means they weren't bots. That means they weren't even bots.
that's
They were
pretty
actual followers. Paying attention to what
sad.
you said. I also made a list about Nicki Minaj. People's voices I can't stand. I haven't got to 13, but it's getting a pretty big list. See, she's on it. People's voices, I got to go. Mute button. Bobby Kennedy Jr., mute button. Change the channel. Can't listen. Sorry. Sam Altman, the AI guy, that asshole, right? Listen to him talk. Oh, God. Maybe you should find clips of Sam Altman talking and vocal fry. He's just constant vocal fry. And you just want to grab your... Drink some water, you rich asshole. You can't afford a drink of water before you start talking. Good Lord. Lubricate your throat.
Too much dry air, I think.
He's talking down here, way back in the gutter, back of his throat all the time. Oh,
Gotta get a
my
humidifier,
God.
probably.
Make it stop. Make it stop. Kim Kardashian does it too. She's a vocal fryer. They're all horrible. Just stop doing that. Stop it.
All right, I'm rolling
like
the
that all
segue
the
wheel
time.
for
Just
my
like-
culture news.
I'm glad I never watched this show because it would drive me crazy. Does vocal fry drive you crazy? Let me know. I get it sometime, and when I get it, it drives me crazy.
I have
So I
vocal
usually
fry
have
because I have
something to
asthma, so.
Right. No, you don't have vocal fry at all. I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes
not right
maybe.
now, I don't, but that's because I'm drinking water during your stories. And then I am overhydrated.
You have asthma pause is what you have because you extend your breathing and you have to pause for the asthma to catch up your breath or whatever. I have that when I run. I have that actually a lot. I stop breathing completely. Sleep apnea, perhaps. I don't know. That's probably why I wake up all night. I'm not sleeping with one of those contraptions on my face. Sorry. I won't even be able to sleep. I'll have to take I'll have to get addicted to sleep medication to get to sleep. And I ruin my health that way. I'd rather wake up or not wake up, you know? I mean, yeah, I mean.
All right,
Give
well,
me a
on that
sleep
note,
apnea
let's do an
cat.
accurate metaphor simile for my culture news.
Sleep apnea cats. Let's start training those, right? That's the best thing.
My culture news
What's
is
your
going to
word?
be about over the weekend. I think there was a festival at which a very scary film was shown, and it was actually not allowed to be shown. It was too scary to show, but people found it at the festival and said, "This is a great horror film." Especially if you like gore. If you don't like gore, this might not be a horror film from you. This is my culture news from Galia Kasenska-Nova on Euronews
What
Culture.
did we spend? Did we spend?
Metaphor and simile. Accurate. Initially deemed too terrifying for streaming platforms, a Kazakh horror series has found big success on the festival circuit, where its exploration of exotic folklore and ancient evil has gripped global audiences. A neo-noir and folk horror TV series dubbed Kazakh Scary Tales found its place among eager fans at festivals after being considered too scary and gory for streaming audiences. The show, by Kazakh director Adilkan Yerzanov, premiered at Fantasia International Film Festival in Montreal and saw a local theater release in November. The story follows Berzan, a police officer reassigned to a remote village, where he has to solve mysterious deaths while dealing with corrupt officials. Sounds like a good starting point. He partners up with a local witch, who helps him figure out the ancient evil, find a way to fight it, and maybe learn the truth about himself. Sounds like a Kazakh girl with a dragon tattoo. Teaming up with the local woman. Early test screenings raised questions about whether the show would be appropriate for wide audiences. Producers did not expect commercial success, thinking it was too niche, so they sent it to festivals instead. For example, the scene in the maternity ward where the characters start bleeding, is that even appropriate for family viewing? Wouldn't it be shocking? Yerzanov explains. But the tales exceed expectations when the first 4 episodes were released on YouTube. It is precisely the combination of folklore and modernity that attracted audiences' attention. Our audience was ready to see our folklore integrated into modern series, the director said. Viewers praised the series online, calling it the Stranger Things of Kazakhstan, and sharing eerie folk stories passed down through generations. To grasp the attention abroad, Yerzanov says Kazakh filmmakers must offer something distinct. You can't come up with a Kazakh horror film built on Hollywood or Japanese models. You can't get noticed if you're working within established rules, he explains. Oh my god, wait, you mean using your own culture in order to create a film actually attracts people to watching it? That's crazy! I'm sorry that people have to be told this now. He believes two elements of Kazakh scary tales resonated most with the connoisseurs of the horror genre: the unusual blend of humor and terror, and the originality of the mythical creatures. I realize that international audiences are drawn to the humor and the scariest moments. They find it incredibly intriguing, unique, and different, said the filmmaker. Also, you know what a Kazakhstan person can look like after watching a film like this, right? Because I couldn't tell you. I don't know what a Kazakhstan person looks like, but they're just over there somewhere, you know? Sadly, Central Asia does not get a lot of visual representation. Many reviews highlighted Birzon's banter and bromance with the local pathologist, where they exchanged slightly inappropriate jokes at completely random moments. Meanwhile, the monsters rooted in Kazakh mythology feel refreshingly original to horror enthusiasts. As they say, monsters in Kazakh scary tales are less dangerous than the people who created them. They are interested in the fact that all monsters in the series arose from injustice, from the actions of some characters, some men, commented Yerzanov. This theme forms the backbone of the series, which doubles as a social commentary on violence against women. In the show, women hurt by men transform into monsters, which they then devour these men and others along the way. Let's talk about justice, primal justice right there. The first 3 episodes center on Albasti, an evil female spirit from Turkic mythology, believed to torment pregnant women and infants. The director points out that, as in many Eastern mythologies, most demons in Kazakh folklore are female. Everything irrational, everything that any man, any warrior is afraid of. He's afraid of the irrational, which he identifies with women, Yerzanov explains. Nothing, he agrees, just the patriarchy has determined those are the devils in our system, I guess. A defining choice in the production was Yerzanov's refusal to use CGI when making his monsters. He was looking for a naturalistic representation of the ancient horror that his mom used to tell him about as a kid. In my childhood imagination, these monsters didn't look computer-generated or drawn. They looked very naturalistic. I would even say physiological. It was this physiology, this homespun nature that I wanted to express in this series, the filmmaker said. This is why the team created animatronic Alabasti operated by several people. A stunt performer wore an artificial head for wide shots. For close-ups, they created a carcass of the head covered in silicone, where one person moved the upper lip and the other moved the lower lip. The third person moved the tongue, and 2 more people used and opens its eyes. Any computer graphics led the monster to the pasteurized Hollywood, where everything is artificial, where everything is too mothered, he said. Yeah, because these are ancient, scary demons from their ancient Kazakh mythologies, right? They should not look modern at all. Yerzanov himself is not fond of horror films, but he believes the best movies of the genre are made by non-horror filmmakers like William Friedkin's The Exorcist or Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Unfortunately, audiences outside of Kazakhstan don't yet have a chance to watch the show, but the director says he was working hard on making it available on streaming services. I mean, I think they said the first few episodes were on YouTube. Did he take them down already because it was too popular?
I
don't know.
Jeez.
It's like Scary Tales. I'm sure you can find it somewhere.
YouTube. Yeah,
it says it's on YouTube. The first 4 episodes, anyways.
Well, they do foreign stuff. They dub in English.
I'm just trying to see if I can actually find a link to it. There's a trailer on YouTube, but maybe it's only available in Kazakhstan. There's a bunch of people reviewing the film from the Fantasia festival that happened in the summer. But yeah, I guess they don't have it on YouTube anymore. Just the trailer for the show. Or maybe, yeah, I think the Fantasia International Film Festival. Oh God!
I'm not
playing stuff. Yeah, just a trailer from the festival. that is my culture story.
Okay. Who knows? It might be blocked in this country for some reason.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know anymore. Okay, so local. Here's my accurate metaphor. Local folklore can be grim, like a witch being boiled. It makes you cringe and celebrate. Because,
Indeed.
Hansel and Gretel.
Though I guess in this case, the witch is helping break the spell.
Well, in the fairy tales that I know, the witch was always the fun.
Yeah.
With the candy
In a lot of cases,
house
the witch is the one
Hansel
summoning
and
them.
Gretel. I want to specifically reference the Grimm. Those are the folklore that I bought a book of legitimately, not the cleaned up versions, which are really, really scary. Oh my God. I have a book, Original Grimm's Fairy Tale. Did you ever read it? I had it for a long time. Yeah,
no, I haven't. They're not very happy, are they? So I don't really like horror. I think life's horrible. I don't. Yeah. The thing with horror is that it's supposed to create empathy within you, and then it's supposed to teach you people are suffering out there, and you need to know about it, and we need to make it as horrible as possible so you can relate to how horrible it feels to be suffering from these things. I don't need help feeling empathy, so I don't need to watch. That's my excuse for why I don't watch horror films. I don't need help with feeling empathy for people's problems and the terrible things that happen in society. I don't need to be notified about it. I already know what's going on, so yeah.
Horror films are a morality. Horror films are a morality play. They're usually made by the kids that couldn't get laid in high school. Because you notice, who gets killed first? It's the couple doing it. Every time.
It's very...
1170... sorry.
Wait, we haven't rolled the segue wheel.
Let's do it.
Rolling the segue wheel. Also, hello, Desi. Good morning, and thank you for checking in with your daily elixir. Haiku. Okay, I'll write you 3 haikus for this day in history.
Haikus, 1170, the Knights of King Henry II of England killed the Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Becket, in Canterbury Cathedral because, I don't know, whatever. Who knows if they're fighting? Over God, I guess. God told me to do it. 1743, Hyacinthe Regaud, one of the most prolific and successful French portrait painters, died in Paris. Basically the same day as Bridget Bardot. And he didn't know her at the time. She wasn't born yet. She's 91 though. That's pretty impressive. She 90 years ago, World War II was going on. And well, actually, let's see, 90. What year is it?
I don't know.
It was before World War II. Sorry. She was born in the 30s. So Hitler was rising to power when she was born.
Hitler was being a sex pest in Austria somewhere.
She was walking around as a baby in France going, well, Hitler was marching around doing stuff, and, she was totally unaware. But she was raised in a prominent, rich French family, so they probably escaped from France before it was occupied. We didn't get through that part of her body.
Maybe they were fine. Yeah, maybe they were completely fine there.
Seems like it. She made it through the war all right. 1808. I mean, she wasn't a agent of the underground like Audrey Hepburn, but, she made it through. 1808, Andrew Johnson, 17th U.S. president, and the first ever to be impeached, was born in Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh. Sir Walter Raleigh, who had a named after him, and he had an unfortunate end in his life, too. 1809, not that Andrew Johnson had an unfortunate end. He probably did just fine. The first president to be impeached. 1809, William Ewart Gladstone, who served as prime minister for Great Britain 4 times, was born in Liverpool. Happy birthday to that old guy. 1845, U.S. Congress approved the annexation of the independent Republic of Texas by the United States and lived to regret it ever since. Sorry about that if you're from Texas, but they let them come in as a slave state. That never should have been approved. They should have said, nope, can't. If you're coming in as a slave state, go be part of Mexico. And good luck.
Good luck.
That's what they should have done, man. It was a big mistake. They let them come as a slave state. It's just stupid. That was a bad decision. It was done out of political expediency because when you're in Congress, you're there for 2 years, I'm going to get my term's over. I got to run for office, blah, 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 and those people are just going to vote in their own best interest. Instead of being term limited, it gives them freedom. They don't limit their terms. If you're term limited, think of the freedom you got to do what you want. You're not running for re-election. In 1865, abolitionist crusader William Lloyd Garrison published the last issue of the Liberator, the last one, and then he was murdered. That's legitimately true. 1890, U.S. Army troops carried out the Wounded Knee Massacre, speaking of murders, which was the last major armed conflict. Okay, let's call it a conflict. Shooting unarmed children and women is a conflict now. No, it's called a massacre for a reason. Scholars estimate that between 250 and 300 Lakota men, women, and children were killed, and at least U.S. soldiers died, many from friendly fire. Yeah, they died because people were fighting for their life and their family's life. If one of those assholes got killed, tough shit. And it says almost likely from friendly fire anyway. So they were ricochets or whatever. Yeah, guys standing behind somebody, a ricochet. Somebody looting the bodies and somebody else didn't like it, or they're fighting over what they're looting the bodies for. Just not the same times we live in now. They were barbarians in those days. 1936, Mary Tyler Moore, best known for her roles in 2 iconic sitcoms, was born in Brooklyn, New York. She made the Dick Van Dyke Show watchable, and she was a star of the Mary Tyler Moore Show. So Mary Tyler Moore's birthday, she would be 89 today. She would not be as old as Bridget Bardot. In 1937, with the enactment of the Constitution, the Irish Free State became known as Ireland, even though everybody was calling it Ireland anyway. 1998, leaders of the Khmer Rouge. Damn it. Somebody's name comes up on my phone. Their actual name. Let's see if they leave a message. All right then. So where was I? Stupid phone. Oh, 1998, leaders of the Khmer Rouge, the group that ruled Canada from 75 to 79, publicly apologized for the millions of people their government was responsible for killing during the Cambodian genocide. Well, that makes it all better. Thanks, guys. 2015, Guinea was declared free of Ebola by the World Health Organization. Some 2 years after the deadly disease was reported in the country and sparked an outbreak in Western Africa, thanks to Barack Obama, who fully funded them in their fight against the disease. It did not spread to our country. And then Stinky the Clown, the first thing he did was disband that whole unit, and 1 million people died. And we all want to pretend that didn't happen. News media again in this country wants to pretend that didn't happen. Yeah, it didn't happen. Bullshit didn't fucking happen. It happened. Start telling the truth, media. 2022, Vivienne Westwood, who, with Malcolm McLaren, extended the influence of 1970s punk movement, died at the age of 81. Malcolm McLaren, of course, is a guy. He was the guy behind starting the Sex Pistols. You see what I did about my vocal fry? I cleared my throat. Works, guys. Here's Sam Altman, got to be out there somewhere paying attention before he opens his mouth again.
Oh my goodness.
In 2022,
let it go.
He's a rich guy. Can't afford a lozenge. 2022, Brazilian football player, legend Pele died at the age of 81. So, sheesh. One of the founders of punk, and Pele died in the very same exact day. He was a year older. Pele was not a punk star. He was one of sports' greatest players. And among the first athletes to become global celebrities. Yes, sir. I remember Pele when he signed with the New York Cosmos, and they were a big thing on TV. Live soccer on TV back in the 70s, thanks to Pele. On network television, not this cable shit. In 2024, 1 year ago today, Jimmy Carter passed away. He was had been awarded a Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. If you don't know what a Jimmy Carter is, well, look into it. He's pretty famous. Our featured event in 1852, arrested for wearing pants in this day in 1852, Emma Snodgrass. Snodgrass is a name. Yes, if your name is Snodgrass, I apologize. Was arraigned in Boston because she was a woman wearing trousers. This was a time when activists were calling for a rational dress for women, including bloomers and trousers as an alternative to long, bulky skirts. Wow. Arrested for wearing pants. 170, whatever, man. Society can't get over itself. Boston, of all places. You threw tea into the harbor.
Crazy.
Idiots. What about freedom, morons? Pablo Casals, Spanish musician, I guess it's his birthday, December 27th, 1876. He lived to be 96. 96. He died in 1973 in Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico. So he must have a nice little villa there where he played that cello. He looks like he's playing a cello. Yeah, that's a cello. Well, there's another stand-up, like mini, like a big violin. This a viola, is that stand-up or not?
No, viola is a violin, just different.
What else is
registers.
stand-up? What else is a stand-up with a bow
bass?
besides a cello?
A bass.
No, well, you can bow
You don't stand up with a cello.
Bass, yeah.
You sit down with a cello.
I know you don't. I know you do.
It's only the bass.
I just thought there was a different winged. I wasn't.
I'm not a string instrument person. I was in orchestras, and all I remember is violin, viola, cello, and standing bass, and that's it. So if there's another one, it's very. Yeah, but I was also in the wind.
Band,
I was in band for 8 years. I was in marching band for 2 years. I was in band for 8 years. Okay, there was never any of those other instruments.
I would go see a marching band with a stand-up bass for sure. I want to put it on wheels.
No, they don't march with violins because that's not how they work.
I know they don't. What I just said was I would pay to see that. Man, you got to follow along the bouncing ball here.
The freaking
all right, other birthdays
instrument
today.
would
Andrew
warp
Johnson.
so quickly.
Warp from what? Being in the sun?
Being in the weather, yes. They're meant for inside, usually.
Well, when you're practicing for marching, you don't have to even have the bass. You just got a dummy bass, right? You're just dragging it along anyway.
No, thank you.
1808, Andrew Johnson's birthday. We did that. William Ewart Gladstone, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, was born in 1809. Other birthdays: John Voight, Midnight Cowboy, born in 1938, and Rajesh Khanna, Indian actor, born in 1942. It's only a couple things today, and there goes my stinking screen because my mouse is too sensitive. It's National Pepper Pot today, and it's TikTok Day, which, again, get that year-end stuff done. And those are your days, your limericks, your alliterations, all the nonsense with overanalyzing everything today for Mucking Fun Day, December 29th, 2025 on Before Pepper Pot. I have smoked some pepper pot in a minute here. But,
Spoke some pepper pot. All right, this has been Allison here. Wait. Here, let me give you your haikus. I wrote you some haikus.
Oh, haikus.
First haiku.
Yeah, I forgot about haikus.
In Boston's cool air, Emma's trousers spark the plea. Dress of rights laid bare. Some clever wordplay in there. Brooklyn dreams took flight. A hat tossed into the skyline. Mary's light shines bright. Because she always tosses her hat in the Mary Tyler Moore show, right? She tosses her hair and her hat
You're
into the
gonna make it after all.
In a steaming pot, spices dance with meat and warmth. Roots of history. So that's the spiked beef, Caribbean, brought from West Africa, meal.
Pepper pot. Right on.
Pepper pot. Delicious.
Hard to say without spitting on somebody.
See what, if there's anything on our international UN observances. There are not. So I guess have the good rest of your year, not worrying about having to celebrate anything. Yeah, because there's nothing until like Sunday. Okay. Oh God, that freaked me out. That scared me. Why are you doing that? Literally, my heart dropped to my stomach. Oh, right.
Sorry, don't be alarmed. I was just so
right here on the Before Coffee Show. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands.
New security guard here.
Yeah,
he's working
definitely worth the money.
Security guard. Oh, yeah. We pay him well.
This has been Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. as we finish off another Before Coffee, the last Monday of the year. So I hope you enjoyed whatever that was. We will see you tomorrow for Good News Day,
That was Mark
in which we'll be covering all the
Sanchez, man.
positive news we've been able to find. At least the last positive news of the year. Don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe to the Before Coffee podcast channel, because the more people who subscribe, the more YouTube knows people like our show, and the more I'll show it to more people, and that just keeps building up from there. So if you can please subscribe to the Before Coffee podcast channel, thank you. You can also follow us on Twitch, and then, of course, turn those notifications on so you know when we go live, post a video. Support us on Patreon if you would like to see the before and after show stuff on there. And here is our mic drop moment.
Okay, guys, with all this stuff that's going on with, Trump meeting with Zelensky, really nothing came out of it because
here's the truth of what's going on.
Donald Trump's calling Putin
Ex-Republican congressman who stood up against Trump and got voted out.
But there's something that's being missed in this whole discussion.
He's an army
I've talked about
pilot.
it before, but it bears
Somebody's actually been to war.
and again.
Right.
Which is, think about this. The war in Ukraine, the full-scale invasion, the war has really been going on since 2014, but the full-scale invasion kicked off almost 4 years ago.
But he makes an outstanding
February
point here.
of 2022.
The point I kind of made
4
earlier.
years. 4 years.
And they haven't gained any ground, yeah.
In that process, so about a week or two into the war, Russia occupied about 30-some% of Ukraine. Today,
they've
that
lost
number
ground.
is a little over 20%. Okay, think about that. The war kicks off. A couple weeks into it, Russia has 30-some% of Ukraine. Today, that number is a little over 20. So Russia now occupies a significant amount of Ukraine, less than they did when they kicked off.
So sad.
Which means obviously Ukraine.
And a reminder, when they invaded, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna wipe Ukraine clean."
In that fight, Russia has lost probably close now to 1.1 or 1.2 million men. Million men.
And they're using
Now,
North Koreans now.
Killed, captured, wounded, missing. About
Soon to be South
1.2.
Koreans.
They're actually at the rate of anywhere.
No,
from
don't think they're going to
500
force South Koreans to fight for them.
Okay, so Russia.
No, I mean they're going to
occupies
defect
less
to
of
South
Ukraine than
Korea.
it did
Oh,
a
that's
couple
what you
weeks into
mean.
the
Yeah,
war.
sorry.
At the cost of 1.2 million men. By the way, a country that already has a massive demographics problem. They're people don't live very long there because they're all alcoholics and everything in Russia's terrible. And secondarily, they have a huge problem with older people and
they're
not
all
enough young people.
alcoholics.
And now, Vladimir Putin sent his young men off to die and fight in a war. And he
Not
only
even the young
occupies
men, the people who know what to
27%
do,
Okay,
you know,
got
factory
that.
runners and shit.
Now, I want you to think about something.
All the farmers and
Imagine
nobody
when
farming
we
food.
invaded Iraq. I don't care what your opinion is on
Women
that
gotta
war.
take
that's
all the
not the point.
jobs.
But imagine 4 years.
You're going to start sending
into
women
the
over because they're going to run out of men.
The United States
No, they had
only
North Korea for that.
occupied 20% of Iraq. And let's say we had lost 1.2 million men and only occupied 20% of Iraq. Is there a soul in the world?
You're lying to yourself. You think
That
you're
would say
winning
that
and that
we
you're
are
in a
winning?
point which you can ask
Is there a
for
soul
the
that would
land
say
that you
we were
conquered
going to
in a
win?
deal. You've lost the
Of course
war.
not. The United States would have pulled out long ago if that was the case. If we occupied 20% of Iraq only 4 years later, 1.2 million men, the world would be screaming that the greatest superpower in the world is getting crushed.
Yeah, but Russia's a big country, so they
why
must have a
is
lot
it
of
that
people,
Russia
right? They don't.
occupies 20% of Ukraine at the cost of 1.2 million men. And
The big
there's this
cities,
belief
though.
among
That's it.
Trump and Republicans.
Yeah, but they have a lot of land and not a lot of
Russia is
people. That's the
inevitably
whole
gonna win.
thing with
How?
They can
They're
make a
not
lot of
gonna
vodka.
win.
Wasted in Ukraine.
They're just
They
they're,
can't
real, they're really,
It's like the
really
old joke.
crossing their fingers that
Russia
Trump
used to
will
be
do
the second
something
biggest
for
army
him,
in the world. Now
right?
they're
Because
the
they're his
second best
crony.
army in
Oh,
Ukraine.
Putin's got a plan with Trump.
So
Yeah.
for those that
telling
say,
a joke.
this is
I'm trying to hear the
inevitable,
joke.
Ukraine needs to give up its land, it
Alright.
needs to give up its territory, it needs to understand that it's going to lose, call BS. I mean, again, imagine that. The United States, we haven't even been to Baghdad yet, let's say. 4 years into the war at 1.2
Oh yeah, they haven't even
million
touched
men.
Kyiv.
This is insane.
I mean, you can cut it off
So
after
this
this.
is something
I
to
missed the
keep
joke
in mind
anyway.
when we keep hearing about all this
I think
stuff
what
in
he said
Ukraine.
was-
Ukraine is
But there's a
winning this
delay.
war. All
know
the
there's a delay,
defending
right?
country has to do to win a war is keep defending.
Well, I can listen to it again.
That's
I just wondered if
the Russian
we were both
economy has
talking
turned
over
into
it.
a war economy. The Russian economy is on the verge of collapse. The Russian demographics are
And we've got to
awful.
keep pushing that economy
The
with
price of energy is down, and Russia
everything.
exists
They can't
solely
afford to
on
live.
energy. And plus, a lot of their energy has been stopped. The Russian Black Sea Fleet, which used to be feared, this massive naval armada in the Black Sea, exists no more. Ukraine has basically sunk the
Keep burning
Black Sea
those ships.
fleet. What's remaining of it is hiding in a port they just had to move to that's so far away from Ukraine because they'd been getting hit with Ukrainian drones. So Russia can't even project naval power in the Black Sea.
Well, they did invade
Ukraine is winning this war.
the Crimea.
Pass this video on
so-
to anybody
Yeah.
that.
I guess if
gives
you
an
include
argument
Crimea
like, oh gosh,
and
Russia's
the
gonna
20%
win.
they
Crimea's one
own
that
in
started.
Russia,
A reminder
Then
of
you
aggression
could-
started
how
with
terrible
it.
Russia is actually
Yeah,
doing. in
for
this.
sure.
Hit like and subscribe too. Take care.
there you go. Thanks, Adam, for revealing the reality of just the ridiculousness of Russia thinking they're going to win.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.